Okay, so guys, let's begin. So we discussed about class upcasting and then class downcasting. Now we are ready to start with more examples on interfaces. Fine. So let's begin. Again, back to interfaces. Let's search here. Scroll down. Now we are going to take many more examples to get familiar with interfaces. So what is the next example I'm going to take is, now what do you mean by, okay, this note? Let's start with that. Whenever you are doing inheritance from class to class, you have to use extends keyword. Keep this in mind. Whenever inheritance happens from class to class, you have to use extends keyword. Interface to interface inheritance, extends keyword. Interface to class, it should be implements keyword. So let us start with a simple inheritance example wherein we will now create one interface A. I will create one interface A. Okay, so this A here is what? An interface. Fine. I will inherit from interface A to B. Now B also here is what? An interface. Now from B we will inherit to C, and C here will be what? Class. When you're inheriting interface to interface, we will use the keyword extends. And when you're inheriting from interface to class, we have to use implements. The inheritance happening here is all about abstract method inherited. But when the method is inherited to class, ensure you're completing that method. Example, let's see this here now. Let me close all of these tabs. Let's go back to our Java project. So I'll delete all of these things. Right click and delete. I'll firstly create one interface A. Fine. Now this interface A has one incomplete method called as test. Public void and test. Okay, test one. Whenever you create an incomplete method in an interface, do not make that method private. Private methods are not allowed inside interface because they cannot be inherited. The whole purpose of interfaces inherit and modify the logic of inherited method. So you cannot make it private and you cannot make it protected. All the methods in an interface has to be default, or it has to be, if it is default, will work in same package, and if it is public, any package. Now I'll create here another interface. Let me call that as B. Now this interface B, we are now writing public void and test2. Okay, and I'll create one class which is going to be C. So let's do multi-level inheritance now. Okay, what I'm going to perform here will be multi-level inheritance like this. First, let me inherit from A to B. Interface to interface inheritance, you have to use extends keyword. There is no error because incomplete method inherited is again inside an interface, so there is no problem. But now when I inherit this B to C, B has how many methods now? One or two methods? Two methods. Very good. Test one and. So now when I type here implements B, I will get an error because you're supposed to implement How many methods? Two methods. Let's print here 1 and let us print here 2. Let's type here main C1 is equal to new C, and let's write C1 dot test1 C1 dot test2. Now when I right click, run as Java application. Observe the first example. Is this clear? Everyone? Now the next thing, let's take the next example. So this was your first example. Can you observe? There's an interface A, inheriting to interface B. We are implementing it, calling those method. It will print from test1, from test2. Example 1 clear? Now we'll look at example 2, where what I will do is now, I will now create here an interface A. I will create here interface B. Now both of these things are interface. Is this clear? Now I'm going to inherit both A and B to C. Now this C here has two parents, but both of them, they are interface. Now C here can be a class or it can be an interface, does not matter. Here multiple inheritance is allowed. Multiple inheritance is what? Allowed. Now why the multiple inheritance is allowed? Because as long as your parent are interfaces, there is no problem. There is no diamond problem that can occur here. Why diamond problem cannot occur? Because both the methods are incomplete. There is no logic at all. So there is no confusion. Methods that you are inheriting are only incomplete methods. Since they are incomplete methods, there is no question of here your diamond problem. Okay? Implementation is happening in C if it is a class. If it's an interface, again it is not implemented here. Let's see this here now quickly. Did you understand this diagram? Online students, did you understand this diagram? If yes, we can take the example quickly. So I will now delete this, and what I'll do now, I'll go to C and I'll type implements A comma B. Observe, is there any error? Because A and B both are interfaces, I'm able to now implement on C, though it is a class. And now when I run, it works. Analyze, everyone. Yes? Everyone clear with this? Any questions, queries, confusions? No. Now let us continue further. Suppose I make this itself as an interface. Still there is no problem. But change this to, do you see any error? That's what we have mentioned in this diagram. A and B are interfaces, but see here, it can be a class or it can be what? An interface. See here, it can be a class or it can be what? An interface, which is allowed. Let's look at our notes quickly. Interface, interface, interface. There is no problem. Is this clear? So if you do multiple inheritance on a class, then its parent should be like you see here. Interface A, interface B, class C implements. Have we taken this example as well? Able to understand? Okay. Now, on a particular class, what I want to do this time is this. I have this A, which is an interface. Which is what? An interface. And I have here B, which is a class. Now C here is also a class. Now when I do inheritance here, I want it like this. Inherit from A to B, A to C. For this I will use implements keyword. Correct? And when I inherit from B to C, I will use extends keyword. Question is, can I do this? Is this possible? Can I do this? On a same class, can I use extents and implements together? Can I do that? Answer, you can do that. But the rule is, you have to always use extents first. You have to always use what? And then you have to use implements. Whenever you're using extents implements together on the same class, extents should be done first and then implements. Are you understanding? Let us try this here quickly. Observe. I'm going to here now change this to a class. And this one, I will change this to a, let it be interface only this one. I'll change this to a class. I'll get an error. Incomplete method not allowed. Make this as 1. Or let's delete this also. Let it be empty. Now, there is a class and there's an interface. Now, if you want to inherit from a class, use extents. And then after use, I'm using extents first and then if I interchange this, what do you see? So always use, did you understand? Did you understand the meaning here, students? All of you, online students, offline students, are you all clear with this part? Please tell me. Any questions? No questions? Okay. So with this now, we are seeing that we are able to use extents. Now after implements, you can add any number of interfaces here. B, comma, D, comma, E, comma, F. But class has to be only one. You cannot have multiple classes after. Did you understand? Okay. So can you please see this example? Quickly read this. Read this point. Make sense? So this implements test2 method I'm overriding. Because I'm inheriting incomplete method test2. I'm overriding. Now C1.test1, C1.test2. Is this clear? Everybody? So can I develop private incomplete methods in interface? No. Can I develop protected methods? Can an interface be private? No. Can an interface be protected? Can an interface be public? Can it be default? So this cannot be private. Is this clear? Okay. Now let's continue further. Next one. Can I develop incomplete static method in an interface? Can I develop incomplete static method in an interface? So you're not supposed to do that, because if you develop incomplete methods which is static, we cannot inherit and override. Static methods we cannot override. You see there is an error. Did you understand? The error is because static methods you cannot inherit. Static methods we cannot. I've discussed this earlier. So static incomplete methods are not allowed here. Read this. Read this point. Does it make sense? So will this give error? Yes. Why error? Very good. Now in an interface, method can only be, see, can it be protected? Can it be private? This one? This one? Because it's default, yes. Public, yes. Okay. Now very important thing. In interview they will ask, what are marker interfaces? An empty interface is called as a marker interface, meaning you have developed an interface and that has nothing inside it. Such interfaces are called as marker interfaces. An interface which is completely empty is called as a marker interface. Are you understanding now? Everyone clear with this part? An object of interface cannot be created. I have mentioned this earlier. But a reference variable can be created. What does it mean? Observe. Now if I go here to this class A, let me close this file, no longer required. Now I'll go to this class A. What am I doing? I'm creating reference variable of B. Is there any error? There's no error. There's no error. A reference variable I'm able to create. But if I create an object of interface, what's happening? Did you understand? Reference variable can be created, but object cannot be created. For what? Interface. Did you understand now? Now here I can do class upcasting. This is interface B. Let us write here implements B. Which is parent here? Which is parent here? A or B? Which is the parent of A? B. What is B? So can I do this class upcasting? To achieve loosely coupled concept? Yes or no? I can do class upcasting and this will result in loosely coupled concept. I can do class upcasting and this will result in loosely coupled concept. This will result in what? Loosely coupled concept. Yes, this will result in loosely coupled concept. Okay. Okay. Now let's continue further. Observe. This will work. This will not work. Did you understand? Why this will not work? Object creation error. But this one, so an object of interface cannot be, but reference variable of interface can be. You need not by heart Java code. Firstly, just understand the rules. Some students are telling me I'm forgetting the previous code. There is nothing to remember the code. Debugging, when we start learning that in a depth manner, any code you will be able to understand. All we have to understand is debugging and not by hearting of code. By hearting of programs, that should not be done. When debugging you learn any project code, we will be in a position to analyze. Then what we have to focus right now on? Syntaxes. Syntax to create class, syntax to create methods, constructors, objects, interfaces, rules and regulations. Oops concept. This is what you remember, not programs. If I tell you to create an interface, you should know the syntax. Right? If I tell you to create abstract methods, you should know the syntax how to do it. This syntaxes is what you have to be clear with. Rest, when we debug, syntax is clear. When we debug, automatically any project code I can analyze. That is why debugging is so important. Because debugging will make us understand the code line by line. See, today it is some 5 lines or 10 lines of program. You will by heart. You will try to by heart. When you join the company, one class file has 5,000 lines of program. In one single class, there are 5,000 to 10,000 lines of program. Will you by heart? Then we have to learn debugging there. So don't put pressure on your mind that I have to remember all the programs what sir is teaching. Some students are doing that. No, you have to learn the syntaxes and the rules, how to create an interface, methods, constructors, SIBs, IIBs, this keyword. This is what you have to be prepared with for now. Is this clear? Okay, next. Now we are going to start with the basic concept of Java 8 features. I'm not covering Java 8 features in depth manner as of now. I'm just going to give you some basic overview. Further, in my advanced classes, you will learn Java 8 features in depth manner. Okay, we will use Java 8 features in our projects as well. But for now, we are going to learn Java 8 features. The first feature in Java 8 version they introduced is default keyword. Now, what is this default keyword? Okay, so using default keyword, we can create complete methods inside interface. This was introduced in Java version 8. Using default keyword, we can create complete methods inside interface. This was introduced in Java version. Now, what do you mean by that? Till your Java version, let me change this back to class. So we'll just go in order and we will change this back to what? Interface. Okay. Now, whenever you're developing a method in an interface, you cannot keep that complete. But then in Java 8, they said, just add this default keyword to your method and that will make your method complete. This is not an access specifier. Access specifier is public. Default is making the method complete inside an interface. Now, this can also be default. So I'm using default, access specifier also default, right? And we are developing complete method in an interface. Since the method is complete, package is same, it is default, package is same. So I should be able to use here implements. But this time you will not see any error here. But this time you will not see any error here. The reason being we are inheriting complete method. Since you are inheriting complete method to a class, there is no problem. The class has a problem when from an interface you are inheriting incomplete method. Now if I write b1 is equal to new b, I can directly access the complete method. So they gave us a flexibility in Java 8 version to develop complete methods in an interface. Is the first point clear, guys? Read this loudly. Can you just see this here? Program. Yes. See. Okay. Now example 2. Now notice in example 2, I'm creating one default method test 1. I'm developing a default method test 1. And with this, I'm developing public void and test 2. Can you tell me why this error is? Is it because inheriting this method or method at line 7? So how do I resolve that error? You have to override and complete the method. Is the error gone? Save the file. Now let us print here SYSO2 and let us print here 1. Did you understand now? Now if I create an object b1 is equal to new b. If I now write b1 dot, if I now write b1 dot test 1, b1 dot test 2, run and see. Okay, just work on the syntaxes, work on the concepts, don't by heart the programs. Every program will be different. As a Java developer, you should be in a position to analyze the code using debugging. Okay, so that pressure if you remove from your mind, then programming is easy. Many beginners they take that pressure by heart, by heart, by heart. That's not the way to learn coding. Okay, everyone clear with this part? Okay, now analyze the program. Okay, now let's look at the next feature, which is the first feature that got introduced, default keyword. And what is that we are doing using default keyword? We are developing complete methods in an interface. Now the next feature they introduced in Java 8 is functional interface. Now what is this functional interface, by the way? What is this functional interface, by the way? What is this functional interface, by the way? Tell me. Huh? Functional interface is a special interface in Java which can consist only one incomplete method in it. So by using a functional interface, you're putting restriction on an interface that there should be only one incomplete method. You cannot have two or zero. Exact one incomplete method. Okay. So this is very important concept because later you will learn stream APIs in Java, which is a very core feature of Java 8. But to learn that, basics we are covering here. Then we will use functional interfaces with stream API later. Observe here now, if in case I have an interface which is empty, then it is called as marker interface. But I'll annotate this with functional interface. Moment I do that, there is an error. If I now take the cursor on this, you see the definition given here. The definition, if you carefully read this definition, an informative annotation, observe here, is used to indicate interface intent functional interface. A functional, this is the line you have to focus on. Can you read this loudly? Correct. A functional interface has exactly one abstract method. What is the another meaning of abstract? Very good. Incomplete method. When we say abstract means incomplete. Does it have one incomplete method? Various. There are no incomplete methods in it. It is zero. Yes or no? Now I am adding it. Public, void, and test1. Is the error gone? How many incomplete methods are there? How many abstract methods are there? Let me add two. What do you see? Remove. Did you understand? Now observe here. Example 1. Firstly, read this loudly. Clear? Next. Inside functional interface, we can develop any number of complete methods using, which means what it says, incomplete method should be one. But when it comes to complete methods, public, void, test2, why there is an error? Apply default keyword. Now you can write this default before or after public, does not matter. I am writing before, you can also write after public. Two places we can use. Is there any error? Create one more default method. Create one more default method. And now see, what is it? No error. Now when I do inheritance, there is an error here. For what reason? This test method you have not completed it. Error gone? Yes. Now how many methods are present in class B? One method or three methods? Three methods. Which are the three methods present? Test1, test2. So B1 dot test1 working. B1 dot B1 dot test2 working. B1 dot test3 working. Now run, right click, run as Java application. Did you understand? Observe here now. Read this. Do you want to practice these things? Huh? See, don't look at the time. There's no significance how many hours sir is taking lecture. Firstly, it should not be the timer that decides, okay, whether you will get placed or not. It is every lecture, whether you're practicing properly. Our syllabus, 6.5 months, I will finish that off, right? You should be ready for placements, but practicing is the key factor. Is this clear? So, all of you, do you want me to stop here? If yes, then you all will practice this much, and we shall then connect again the next class, that is tomorrow. Okay? Fine, guys. See you then.